Alright, back on the line, got the SuperEZ. This is the version 2 of it. And this will be my third flight with it. I noticed that it was giving out a tremendous amount of noise off of that propeller. I balanced it out. It was all fine as far as the balance goes. Still put out some noise. Motor mount was good, spinner's good, everything was fine on it. Couldn't figure out what was causing it. And it turns out the casting on the FMS prop was just a little too thin right here. So when 80% throttle it was fine, but when you gave it max throttle, the propeller would start, you know, moving back and forth kind of like that at the tip and oscillating. So I don't know if it was cast too thin at the tip or cast through too thin at the base where it connects to the shaft. But I put a new propeller on it and bench testing it. Doesn't seem to have the noise any longer. So let's give it a try and see what she does. Got an 8-mile-an-hour steady breeze. Take off. I never did grease the wheels up on this yet. Come up over the sun. Alright, let's come down here and take on an east-west pattern. We'll get it in a little closer to us then. Alright, before 80% throttle and below it was fine. When you gave it max throttle though, it just tremendous noise. Sounded like the motor was loose. So let's give it a full throttle pass here. Nope, just as quiet as could be. That's how she's supposed to be flying. Now we'll be able to actually ring this out and get a comparison between the version 1 and the version 2. Go vertical from a slow run. Oh yeah. A little bit more power than the version 1. I did put one of the antennaless Spectrum receivers in here, one of the new ones. They market that as having telemetry. Alright, being Spectrum, I don't have a lot of experience with the telemetry. I know a couple of pilots out here at the club fly on Free Sky or FR Sky, and there's they can buy a certain receiver that has telemetry built in that gives them the flight pack voltage. So I thought that's what this was going to do. Turns out this only gives you telemetry for the receiver voltage, which for us electric flyers is pretty worthless, because since we're running it off of, or most of us anyway, are running off of the BEC that's built onto your speed controller, your plane's going to fall out of the sky before your receiver voltage is going to get below the 4.5 volts or so that it needs to run. So really a useless feature for electric. Now, if you're a nitro flyer, or if you're electric running a separate battery for your receiver, then yeah, I could see that having some value. But if you're just running off your BEC, it's a worthless feature. You don't even need to activate it. You can just keep it silent. I have this one activated just as testing it, but I would imagine I'll probably, if I remember it when I'm back at the bench, to turn that off, because it's really useless information for me. Man, this thing is just a fantastic plane. I had a couple people ask me, why is this my all-time favorite? Alright, let's go with this. Does about 55, 60 miles an hour. So it's fast enough to be exciting. It also does about 3 miles an hour. So it has a really good wide flight envelope. No flaps on it, but it doesn't really need it. This is in a crosswind right now. But let me just show you here. That's been on 0 throttle for quite a while. It's just finally starting to stall out. So with that flight envelope, you could actually fly this at a middle school playground. If you got some, ability to keep it in close. Some people like flying it way around, away from them. But if you want to keep it in close, you can certainly slow it down and just fly it close. If you got a football field, you can stretch its legs a little bit. And if you have above beginner skill set, you can do all of your basic maneuvers with it. Does inverted okay. Got to use quite a bit of elevator on the inverted flight, but with a top wing airplane, that's to be expected. It'll do knife edge. It does both inside and outside loops. So other things, probably the biggest one for me is the wing comes off and on super easy. So that means if you have a small sedan, you can transport it with no worries. No tools required. Basically a couple little tabs that twist in, lock the wing in place. And the big feature for it is that the battery loads from the top. You can put in a 2200 milliamp 3S battery, which you can buy on sale for around 12 bucks. And you can get 12 to 15 minutes of flight time depending on how hard you're pushing your throttle. I think I've said in other videos, the only thing that would really make this plane better, in my opinion, is if it came with flaps installed and lights. Then I think it would be perfect out of the box. It's a super easy plane to fly. A buddy of mine's great nephew, Preston, I gave him my old one of this, and he had never really flown. I think he had one flight on a buddy box. And I walked him out here to the line and put my radio in the hand and said, "Here, it's your plane. If you wreck it, it's yours. If you don't wreck it, it's yours." So he took it off, made several passes, and landed it all on his own. No buddy box connection or nothing. So it's sort of like sink or swim when you throw the young kid in a river and tell him swim or drown. So that's kind of how it was with him flying. Either fly it or wreck it. And he did a marvelous job on it. So that's a testament to both to his practice on a simulator and of course also a testament to the way this thing flies. So in summary, if I could only have one airplane in my fleet, I could never own another one for the next 2 years, this would be the one I would keep. Alright, a little windy, but let's do a gears up pass. Now this is a super light plane. I'm guessing probably just under 2 pounds, all up weight. So when you're landing, it can be a little tougher than normal because you've got to set it in nice and easy. Ground effect takes it, and the gears are a little springy aluminum, so they can cause a little bit of a bounce. See how slow that thing goes? That's right at the verge of stall. Well, actually it was in a stall. Alright, let's go ahead and start bringing it around for a landing. There's our timer. Yeah, that landing gear is just a real light gauge aluminum, which is good for saving the plane if you come in too hard, but it also can cause it to bounce a little more than normal. Alright, SuperEZ, that prop fixed the job.